اسمي جيرار وأنا من عنابة. كان كل جيراني مسلمون، عشت معهم بسلام.
شكرا.
Gérard, Anne-Marie, Fradji and their teacher Johan have a special bond with the Arabic language. They all hail from Jewish communities in Tunisia and Algeria. This Arabic class is offered by Dalala, an NGO co-founded by Johan Tayyib to promote North African Jewish cultures. For around 13 centuries, Arabic was these communities' mother tongue.
I feel like I'm now accomplishing something that I should have done when I used to live there, but it wasn't possible at the time because our lifestyle and the colonial system didn't encourage learning Arabic.
However, the colonial system didn't deter one of Gérard's cousins from dedicating his life to the language and becoming an Arabic teacher. Late Maurice Haddad was no other than the father of Anne-Marie. She inherited his huge collection of books, which made her keen to discover the language he was passionate about.
Oui, j'en ai encore quelques-uns. J'avais besoin qu'il y ait quelque chose.
I felt the need to absorb a part of this heritage deep inside, even if it's hard to understand everything. I couldn't just let it go.
As a child, Anne-Marie grew familiar with the sounds of the language, although she did not understand it.
Je l'avais entendu parler beaucoup.
I used to hear it a lot, so I had it in me, like a melody you can hum. But when you actually read the musical note, you discover new things. It's like a musical composition, which now I can read.
A total coincidence got these two second cousins to join the same Arabic class a couple of years ago. During their homework together, they often end up having long discussions about their family's history. A few years back, Anne-Marie had decided to visit the land of her ancestors.
Now I can talk about Algeria in a different way. During all those years, people would ask me where I was born, and I would say, in Algeria, which I don't really know. I wanted to touch it, to see it, so this country would no longer be some kind of fantasy. I was anxious about going there on my own, but a colleague of mine put me in touch with an Algerian friend, and I received a very warm welcome.
As Algeria gained its independence 60 years ago, most of its Jewish community left the country. Gérard was 25 when he arrived in France. He has never returned to Algeria since, and remains unwilling to do so.
I called him saying, Gérard, I would like to tell you that I'm going to Algeria soon. Then I suddenly heard him saying over the phone, oh.
I cannot go to Algeria because the first thing I would want to do there is to visit the tombs of those who stayed behind. And considering the state of the tombstones, especially in Annaba, it would be impossible for me. I feel like the Algeria I knew back then no longer exists. That's it.
Before teaching Arabic to his students, Johan had to learn it himself. As a child, he only heard a few words from his late grandmother.
My family's first reaction to my interest in Arabic language and culture was fear and rejection. When I decided to spend a year in Egypt, my father was opposed to the idea, and my mother was afraid. I could understand them. However, I did go to Egypt. Then, when I succeeded in the most prestigious Arabic language exam, things changed. My family understood then that I could be both Jewish and Arab.
At the Arab World Institute in Paris, an exhibition presents different aspects of the Oriental Jewish heritage. This morning, Gérard is bringing his grandchildren to share with them a part of his culture.
Can you believe it? This is a piece of clothing used to cover bread during Jewish celebrations, on which they've drawn the Mosque of Omar in Jerusalem. So you can see how the relationship between Jews and Muslims was totally different then. Today, this would be unthinkable.
De celle d'aujourd'hui, aujourd'hui, ça semblerait totalement impensable.
We live in the Paris suburbs where there is a real division between Jews and Muslims of Arab origin. There's even a slightly hostile climate of confrontation, so we'd love to reconcile people by reviving this mentality of earlier times when both cultures used to be close to one another.
Today we're talking about barriers, which I think is absurd. We can see in this exhibition that it was the same culture during many years, and the divisions appeared with time. So today it's not about bringing down barriers, but rather going back to a point where barriers did not even exist.
For this young man, the Arabic language and culture are not only important to explore his own Algerian Jewish roots, but also to break down the barriers separating people.